Talk Season 1, Episode 7, coming to you live. Well, technically not live for you guys, but pre-recorded live type shit, like every stream going on right now. From the Riddim Squad headquarters. I can't speak, as you guys can see. Up here, we got Mr. Andy Honcho, half of 48, aka 24. We got the most underrated fucking artist right now in the Dallas scene. Give it up for, introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Malware.
Aka Eliminate.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Mr. Malware over here. How you doing, bro? How you feeling?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Pretty good. All right, so tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? How'd you get the name Malware? Please don't fumble this.
So my name's Matt, or Malware. I grew up in Dallas, born and raised, always been here. And then I guess that's really about it for like who I am, but I guess we're going into like how my name started and everything. So I started as a frat DJ, which is like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't really know much about I liked EDM music, but I never DJ'd. Didn't know anything about it. And then the fraternity that I was a part of, not gonna name it, but the fraternity I was a part of started saying that they needed people to DJ because the guy who was DJing there was leaving. And so I was like, that sounds kind of cool. And I had gone to some of the parties and it looked really fun. And they all, you know how they are, like they have like big stage builds for no-name people to play. So it's pretty fun. It gets rowdy. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. And I started learning just like instantly. I had no idea what I was doing. And it was like 2 weeks before that I was playing. And I wasn't the headliner for that show, but I was right before the headliner. And I was sitting there. I had absolutely no idea what to do.
Oh, God.
And then I got on stage and like it just kind of like I was practicing beforehand, like downloaded Rekordbox, got all the songs that I was into at the time and went from there. And then show, I mean, I'd like to say it went well, but like if I look back now, it probably didn't, you know? And so that kind of started like when you get those crowd reactions and everything, that kind of started my love for DJing. I already loved EDM before that. And then from there, I had produced before that. Like, I had always messed around in FL Studio, but it was never taken seriously. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I kind of was like, all right, let me look more into this. And was just doing that, riding that frat DJ wave for a little bit. And then that stopped, and I was really into producing at that time. Like, right now, I like producing more than I do DJing. But I feel like nowadays they kind of just go hand in hand.
Right.
And so from that, I went in full force into producing and learning about all that kind of stuff. And then I stopped doing the whole frat DJ thing. And I had a previous alias, which was really bad. And then I switched. I hit up my manager, and I was like, yo, we need a rebrand. I want to rebrand. I want to completely change it because I hate everything about like what we're doing right now.
Do we want to mention like?
I mean, we can. The
or
name,
just like give like the small details.
The name was Second Sight, and I just hated it. It was so future basey, like, and I didn't.
What's wrong with future bass?
Nothing's wrong with future bass. I was just saying I was going in a dubstep route, and I was like, it doesn't really mesh well with like the whole vision that I had, like.
For Second Sight.
Yeah, well, for like tours in general, like if I was ever gonna tour and visuals, like doing, because I've always, since day one, I've always told myself that eventually when I can, I'm starting to try to do it now, but resources come into play of doing start to finish, kind of like how Excision does his, or, you know, all those big artists that everybody loves to see, is visuals that coincide with the music at all times. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what like I'm trying to do. And so I told him, I was like, we need a rebrand and let's sit down and start brainstorming. And so he asked me this question. We were going through all these things and we were getting nowhere. And he's like, all right, well, name 3 things that ever since you can remember you've always done or you've always loved. And I was like, okay. And it was all technology related. And he came back after I said that, and he's like, okay, so it has to be something to do with technology because that's obviously like what you're so deeply rooted with. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, well, let's start, you know, spitballing and figure out where we're going to go from here. And I told him 2 things. I told him, first thing, it has to be short. Because the whole Second Sight thing, I hated how it was like, it was a mouthful. Even though it's not that big of a word, but if you think about it, like, you want something that's short, sweet, to the point, easy to spell, easy to look up, all this kind of stuff. And so that was that, and then we kind of stumbled across Malware, and as soon as like I texted him that, he responded. He's like, "That's it, that's the one." And so after that, we hopped on a call, and then we were like, "How are we gonna intertwine this with what you already have like envisioned for tour, for music, for branding, for all this kind of stuff?" And in my music, I like to do like obviously bass music, but I like to go about things in like a weird way, where like, for example, the Eliminate remix, that long bass that came about, that was actually a snare. That whole long bass came from a snare sample.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
So what I did is I took this snare and I went in Ableton and took the warps and put them right next to each other and just stretched it out as long as I could go, and it sounded like ass. And then I would resample from there, frequency shifting, OTT, like all the, flanger, whatever. And I'll go from there, and just taking those kind of weird ways. And so like that kind of went hand in hand with how I was doing just like the more glitchy kind of bass music that, I mean, I guess you could say it's not new, but I think it's refreshing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are kind of, I mean, everybody loves, like Mastodon, Excision, all those tracks. But I think if you think about it, like some people will drop tracks that are just rinse and repeat, and then going from there, it's just like, I don't know. I wanted to incorporate something that you could listen to and be not shocked, but just taken on a different route, if that's what you want to say about it.
Yeah.
But even now, like, I'm not there. Like, I'm still finding my sound. I'm still working on it. I still have a long way to go with everything that I want within the Malware project. But that's how I got the name. It's just like I told him I wanted to rebrand, and he asked me that one question where he's like, "What did you do? Like what was your thing?" Because when I was in high school and all that, like, I wasn't the kid going to every party. I was always like at home, either making music or coding. Actually, I used to work at like a. I'm not going to name drop the company for obvious reasons, but
no free promo, right?
Yeah, well, it's not even that. They're like a big company. I just don't want any issues with that. But I used to work for 3 years. I was an intern at this company that was like I want to say coding, but it was coding. It was cloud services, but it was like a tax, something to do with taxes. I never knew the actual like business plan behind it. But I was the youngest employee they had on payroll for 3 years straight.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and so like that was always something I did ever since I was young, like coding and just anything computer related.
Yeah.
And then even before Second Sight, I had a name called 8-Bit, and then it just kind of. I think it's a more polished version of what I am. You know what I mean, or like what my vision is trying to be. So
kind of like where you want to go and like in the right route.
Oh, yeah.
This is like I don't really. Well, it might be the finished product, but it's like the product that you're like most excited about.
Oh yeah,
most content.
100%. Like with the other projects, I was always like, okay, I have this name. Like when somebody would be like, "Oh, what's your DJ name?" I was always so hesitant because I was like, it's so bad. Like I don't even want to say it. It's cringy.
I was about to say, do you cringe?
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. I have some files on my computer. That's like that first frat party that I played. They recorded the sets, and I have the file of my set, and I listened to it a couple weeks ago, and it's so bad.
Is it just like beats weren't like matched up?
It's not even that. Like, because I'm pretty sure I was just using the sync button at the time, if I had to be honest with you. But it was just, there was no flow, there was no story in the set. Like, it just, like, it would go future based to like house and then to like Moonbaton or something. Just there was no like seamless flow between any of the genres.
It was just like super random.
Yeah, and now like I would say now with my sets, I always try, like it's always going to be heavy from me, but I always try to be in the very beginning. I'm going to go as hard as I possibly can because
that's like an attention grabber.
Yeah, exactly. That's what me and Ryan have talked about is like, think about like when you're in English class, like that first sentence of an essay. I was
literally thinking about this the other day.
Yeah,
bro.
right? Like that first sentence better get the reader's attention. So that intro and that first 3-4 songs better make people go, okay, what's that? Like what the fuck?
Either that or like, okay, who is this? Who the fuck is this person? It's like, okay, I'm locked in. Now you have that like person's attention.
My goal every time when making a set is if it's not on the intro, it has to be the next song where I need to hear at least one person in the crowd just like scream or do like like just scream. Like what is that? Like has to do it. And if I don't, I consider it like if I play a set and that doesn't happen, when I go back, I'm like, can't use that song in the first 10 minutes anymore because it doesn't have that impact.
True. I was gonna ask something. How did it do with sets? Fuck, I'm drawing a blank. Oh yeah, that's why you just start off playing like 6 tracks at once. Because they're just gonna be like, what the fuck, and then you just drop all 6, even though it's not possible unless you got the like new mixer. That
Well,
came out,
actually,
like, last year.
for a show that I just did recently, so I've been over quarantine. I've been like in a massive writer's block, and I've been tweeting about it. Like I'll sit down and I feel like I've never produced before, but I still have all these ideas. So I've just been going ham on edits, just edit after edit on all the new songs that are dropping out, because I'm like, okay, everybody's got like that new Murata track.
When he put out like
what is it like
yesterday?
I can't remember the title. It's like Avoidable Cause or something.
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, okay, everybody and their mom is gonna play this song.
Now, what can you do to make something that's like different?
Of course, I'm gonna play it, but what am I gonna do to change it? So like, I went through and for the show the other day, like made an edit where it was that, and then adding in like pre-drops from just every song under the sun that I could think about. So like, Grizztronics as the pre-drop, or just whatever works. So, and I'll just sit there for hours, just like fiddling, trying to find edits and stuff. And
having that super long fake out drop, and then whenever it finally drops, you're just like, oh, it's this song.
I love playing the Sullivan King mega drop, where it's like every noticeable pre-drop, just one after the other, and everybody's just kind of like, what is going on? Like, stop, just play the song. Like, I played it at that show, and like after the third one, so I think it was like 6 total pre-drops. Like,
Jesus.
Grizztronics, I couldn't even tell you, but it's like all the ones that are just like everybody knows and they're gonna sing, even if it's not a word, you know.
It's like Grizz, Damn. I don't know. Those are like the only two.
Yeah, those two were definitely in it. It's this. You could look it up. It's the Sullivan King Lost Lands mega drop or mega pre-drop, whatever. Yeah. And like after the third one, people are just sitting there like, "Dude, play the song." But it's so funny because ever since I got my hands on that track, like I play it all the time now because it's just like a.
It's funny, but at the end you still have like a good like reaction.
Exactly, because like I like that point where it's just like. Sure, the crowd might be like, please play it, but I'm just sitting there like, nah.
It's like, you gotta wait, like 3-4 more pre-drops, bro. Just hold on.
It's like, I had to fit him into the set. I'm not gonna play Grizztronics anymore, so I'm gonna put it in there somehow.
Yeah. Have to. So, how has COVID affected you and everything?
You know, weirdly enough, for a lot of people are gonna, like, I'm sure you could ask any DJ, and they're like, oh, it's affected me, I can't play shows, I can't do any of this, but for me, not as much. I think it's helped me more than anything, actually. Yeah. Because when I started the Malware project, it was right before COVID happened. It was October of last year. It was October 12th. Yeah. Is the day that we got all the social medias that we could, like all the handles and everything, and went from there. And then I think in November, I played a spotlight show where for Adrian from Nocturnal Waves for GRIMEFEST
was it in Austin?
Yeah, at Scratch House. They were looking for like local talent, and they were like, put it on, like come play. I saw the flyer. My manager texted me. He's like, we got to do this, because like I'm from Dallas and I have no connects with the Dallas scene at the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so he's like, we got to do it. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And we went. Adrian was there, and Adrian was like front and center the entire, like didn't move. And right after the set, like. I went up to him, I was like about to leave, and I was like, yo man, like thanks a lot. And he turned around, he's like, give me your number right now. And then from there, that was when COVID started to kick in, about like a month or 2 after that, right after December. And then he hit me up, and because I thought he got my number, and then we didn't really speak. And then he was like, hey, he randomly texted me, he's like, hey man, do you have Discord? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, cool. And he sent me a link, and he's like, join this. And we started talking. Hopped in a voice call for a while, started talking about, what he wanted out of me, what I wanted out of him, kind of thing. Oh, yeah. And I was like extremely mutual, and like I love that guy to death. He's so nice.
That was a better first interaction with him than me. He just sends me pictures of like Big Chungus, and that's it. That's our interaction.
I mean, that's kind of how it happens now, though. But at the time, like it was everybody from, it was all like I don't want to say like execs, but like all the people who were holding positions in Nocturnal, they were all in this voice chat. He's like, join this voice chat for me. And I hopped in, and they were like, yo, what's up? Like, started talking to all of them. It was really cool, all really chill. And then going back to like your original question with how it affected me, it definitely helped me because the way everything switched to being online, and since I already didn't have this physical presence in Dallas, I could play these streams and all this stuff, and everybody was going to be watching those streams just because there's nothing else to do.
Sure.
And from that, like, I just kind of did my thing, like, interacting with people on Twitter, just being myself. Like, not trying to go too hard at anything, just doing the streams and doing what I could to keep my name kind of like relevant, I guess, you know, as like someone who, because it's one of those things where like, think about like a high school cafeteria. Let's say you transfer high schools, you're trying to find friend groups. Like it's hard to get into one initially, but then once you do, like it's easy. You know what I mean? And that's how it was. Is like I was intimidated at the fact it's like all these people know each other and nobody knows who I am, and I have nothing to show for it. Like
100%.
why would they give me any credibility? And then the COVID thing happened, and all these streams happening, and I started premiering some music that I've been sitting on, and then did the Eliminate remix, and then started just dropping tunes as much as I could, or mixes or whatever, and then started doing the streams. And the first stream I did, it was one of the ones where I just videotaped myself DJing with like my TV in the background playing.
Was it for GRIMEFEST or was it?
Yeah, it was GRIMEFEST. Yeah, it was.
So I think that's how I found out about you.
Yeah, it was the first GRIMEFEST stream they did, and
I think it was like you. I think Mikey was on it.
Yes, yeah. I think I still have the flyer. It was me, Mike. I'm trying to think of who the headliner was.
I can't remember right now. That was so long ago.
It was all like Nocturnal Waves people though, because it was the first one they did. It was before they started getting like all the bigger upper echelon guys to do those streams. But that was like the biggest blessing, is like getting to be on that, and especially since it's GRIMEFEST and it's their first one back from live shows. Anybody who follows GRIMEFEST is gonna be like, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And I got lucky with the time that the time slot that I got, because it was relatively early, because I was nobody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is how you expect it. And with that, like it went to, I was looking at the view count, and like right before my set started, like the views jumped up by like 40. And my manager texted me, he's like, dude, are you looking at the view count? Like it just randomly jumped. It was like a blessing. I was like, damn, that's crazy. And then halfway through my set, Heckler is in the chat, and he's like, the set is fire.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
I was just sitting there, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's sick. And so, yeah, like with COVID, like it helped me more than it did hurt me, because like I was already nobody, and it gave me that chance to like have that online presence when everybody was watching. You
finally had the option to kind of like have a platform to kind of
like
show
exactly.
who you are and what you're
it was just like, it was just perfect timing, because it was like I had my Twitter and all that was all brand new, so there was like, my followers were me and my friends kind of thing, and it gave me that platform for sure to like go from there and start building and stuff, and just get on people's timelines and stuff, and just show them what I want to do with the whole Malware project. And then after that first stream, I remember right after it, because I think Adrian had told me that there was a possibility of us doing another one before that stream happened a couple weeks later. And he was like, if this one goes well, like we want to put you on the next one as well. And I was like, all right. And right after that stream, even though it was a stream, there was still the adrenaline factor, because I was like, damn, this is sick. Yeah. And then I texted Ryan as soon as the stream ended. I was like, all right, I think it's time we hit up my dude Andres. He's a visuals guy. I'm sure the Art of Andres.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
I had been talking to him prior and like saying that I wanted to get visuals done, but it was always kind of like hearsay. We're like, yeah, we'll do it. Let's get around to it. And then I was talking to Ryan. I was like, okay, I think it's time we go ahead and put some of these visuals, like get some, instead of using generic, like just random.
Yeah, he got some dope visuals.
Dude.
Yeah, because we just got some from him, but we're gonna get like the bigger packet, that personal packet.
The 30 or the 10 loop one. Yeah, dude, it's a steal.
Yeah, it is.
And he does such good work, and he's so responsive too. Because like when I was getting them done, for example, I have one of the visuals where it's like an astronaut floating in space with like this red background.
Is it? Did you, like these
about.
visuals that you're talking about? Were those the ones in I Can't Believe It's Another Stream?
Yeah.
That first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are sick.
All those visuals that you saw when it was no longer like you didn't see my face. Those were all the ones that we had gotten done from him. And I remember when the astronaut one was coming through, he asked me to explain all 10 of them. So I sent him this document of like explanations for all 10 visual loops. And then on the one with the astronaut, he hit me back. He's like, this could be really cool, but I want to know more about it so we can hammer this one down. And when you're trying to explain something to someone that's in your head, it's the hardest thing in the world.
Especially while typing it.
Yeah.
The option to actually like physically speak to the person, you're just typing it out.
And he would send me back revisions. Like he would DM me like a quick snippet of the video. He's like, how's this? And I would go back and forth saying, do this differently or whatever. and after like all the revisions and stuff, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like he is like so professional in how he does stuff and so timely. It's good price, like great work, and he's also like just a really chill dude. I mean, like he'll get back to you so quickly and be so supportive in the fact that like he might completely finish this visual and you might not like something about it and you're hesitant to tell him, but you tell him, he's like, I got you, I'll fix it. And it's just
the fucking goat, bro.
Yeah, dude.
What was it? Driveins Raves?
Hit him up.
Yeah.
Let me give him a shout out. Let me get his actual Twitter handle.
Sweet.
It is at the Art of Andres.
There you go.
Andres.
The fucking king, bro.
So good.
Legend.
Hit him up.
Please.
I feel like most people that say like that they got affected negatively by COVID are like the ones that are like they were comfortable where they were at. Right. They weren't really trying to push for like further. But now, whenever that did happen, I feel like the people that were trying to push further and further,
the up and comers that are trying to get to that next level,
were the people that are actually trying to put in work.
That's what I'm saying though. Is it comes down to like, I mean, everybody says this, but it's actually an attitude that you have to have behind closed doors because it's like if you want to get onto a stage of a big festival without just using connections, like they actually want you there, then it comes down to. When you're around people, you might be like, "Oh, I produce all the time, and I'm doing this like all day, every day."
But like, what's your actual
do you actually?
Like,
you know what I mean? Like when you go home and you're alone, and it's like I could play Xbox, or I could try making a song right now. Like, which one are you choosing?
Exactly.
And I think that's when it goes to show who's gonna. Not to say that you can't if like you're spacing out your time. I'm just saying. You got to think about how many people want to play on those lineups. Like, I get EDC has like 400 or 500 DJs or whatever. But think about like Freaky Deaky. You have like 30 DJs. Yeah. And think about how many people want to be on those lineups.
Oh, dude, there's a list of locals around here just trying to fight for like that. I think it's like the one stage that they usually do at either Freaky or Ubby, where it's like nothing but like local talent. Mm-hmm. And it's like with how everybody is, it feels like it's just like a straight up just competition.
Yeah, and I don't think that's like we were talking about that earlier before we started. Is like I don't think it should be. I see a lot of people like headbutting each other on Twitter, especially within Dallas, and like I'm not calling anybody out because like to each their own. You know what I mean? Right. But like with me personally, like I'm not gonna bring someone down just so I can be lifted up because
what's the point of that?
Yeah, like
no point,
right? Like if I'm gonna go on Twitter and start talking trash about you. Sure, I might get a follower or somebody might agree with me, but, like, what does that do for me? That's because like, say it gets retweeted, and, like, if you ever look at your impressions on Twitter, like 4 retweets can go up to, like, 1,000 people seeing the tweet. Oh, yeah. And it's, like, they might not interact with you or the other person, but people that see the tweet, they might be, like, note that name, like, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, that's just, like, I don't think that you should be competing in that sense. I mean, you can if you want to, but leave me out of it kind of thing. Right. Yeah. Because, like, this dude Strats, I don't know if you know Strats. Mm-hmm. He's a DJ that I met at a festival called Nightfall that was in Denton in October.
That's where I live.
Yeah. Shout out.
But fuck that town.
Yeah, it's pretty far. But I met him there, and ever since then, like, I debuted a track there that actually is out now that I think is like super trash. If you go back on it's on my Spotify and on my SoundCloud. 404 one? Yeah. Just mixed.
I'm actually a fan of that one.
Yeah, but it's like it's mixed terribly. Like it's so like I should go back and like remaster it, but it's just VIP. Like mixed. I could do that. There you go. But like I played that because my buddy was playing and he had me come up on stage and play it. And afterwards, Strats came up to me and he's like, "Dude, that was sick. Like, let me get your info and stuff." Then we started talking through Twitter and stuff. And he'll like hit me up asking for production tips and stuff, and like he's just the nicest dude, and he's always like that. That's the perfect example of him. Like I've never seen him beef with people on Twitter, and that's just like how it should be. Like he's always the person. Like that's how I got introduced to GRIMEFEST. Actually, is he tweeted because I had put out Error 404, and then I think I had played that show at the Nightfall or whatever, or it was like 10 minutes that I was on stage, but I played it, and literally like his instinct was to tweet at Adrian, and he did at Polarizard and at GRIMEFEST, and he's like, "You guys need to look at this dude." And then within 20 minutes, I had a DM from GRIMEFEST, and I was like, "What's up?" You know? It's like that's the perfect example of like just be a decent human being, right? Like there's no need to just I don't know. I could go on for hours about that, but
exactly.
Don't be a dick. Lift each other up. If you see one of your homies or somebody that's in your local scene, win or just doing well, cheer them up.
Yeah, we can all win.
Yeah, that's the thing is like what happened. Like the whole EDM community is supposed to be about like people who might not be normal, but like to us, you're pretty normal, right. And it's like what happened to that, where it's like all inclusive, all for each other, like.
I just feel like it's like as soon as like you learn how to fucking press a Q button or play, it's like sync. A lot of people just have like this weird like elitist mentality that they're just like better than anyone or everyone else just because they know how to do something, which really in reality is kind of easy.
I think it might just come from that adrenaline rush that you get on stage, and it's like it's pretty easy to think that you're better than someone after you get off and you have a great response from a show, but. I mean, just you might be better than that person, but like be a decent human and try not to say it. You know what I mean? Because like if you're better, I'll probably know that you're better than me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
nobody has to say anything. It's like we all see the work everybody puts in. So
it's like after they get done with their sets, I'm not gonna go up to them and be like, oh, you messed up here. Why the fuck did you fuck up here? It's like, oh, dude. I'm like, no. It's like just tell them the good things. And if you need to, for whatever reason, if they ask for constructive criticism, then just do it in a respectful manner.
Well, you know what the crazy thing is about that is like it flips back and forth because I was at Ultra 2019 when they had it like not at Bayfront, and I was with all my homies and they had Good Vibrations play at the main stage at like 6 p.m. I don't know why. It was like daylight outside. It was a terrible idea, but the set was sick. But you could tell that Slander Nightmare were trashed. They were so drunk. Yeah. And I'm not gonna like say that for sure, but like
we've all been there.
You kind of know, like it's Ultra Miami, like. Probably, and like there was so many times when we were in the crowd and like the beat matching was not happening for them. But nobody's gonna go on Twitter and be like, you didn't beat match, bro, because like it's about the experience. Like, did you have fun? Yeah, I had a blast. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like if you're not gonna say that about these guys that are already making it big and already doing like these festivals and stuff, why are you gonna say it about someone who's learning?
Yeah. That too, exactly. But it's like at the end of the day, we're also just human. Like we're not robots, and we're not gonna get everything perfect every single time. Yeah. Like there's gonna be like one or two hiccups, no matter what. What I've always said is like in terms of like sets, there's like no perfect set.
Right.
Unless you like pre-record
except Porter Robinson Worlds. That's the only perfect set.
That's the only exception. He's God tier. He's God tier. He's different, right? Different breed, different person. Porter.
But also, like, I'm sure y'all have had it too, where it's like you play a set and you're so into the drop that's happening right now, and you look down and you're like, I was supposed to mix right there.
Yep.
And you just completely miss it.
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
That's why I just let it right out. And if it's nice, play it twice. There you go.
I did that last show, and I backspin, and I messed up because the mic wasn't on, so I backspin, and I said, if it's nice, play it twice. I was like, and I flicked the mic on. Everybody, it was silent, and everybody was just looking at me, and I was like speaking, but like they couldn't hear me, and I was like, all right, well.
But again, it happens to the best of us. We're human. We fuck up. It's bound to happen. It's natural. Just learn from those mistakes and just grow from it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what's your takes on drive-ins and even raves happening?
All right, so spill the beans. How was it? Was it good?
What?
The show.
The show last night? Yeah, I mean, they were doing everything within their power.
Actually, hold on. Before we get into that, so going back to like quarantine and all that shit happening, how does it feel now that starting from the Scratch House Spotlight, the GRIMEFEST, starting there, working your ass off through quarantine, finally getting like a name for yourself, and then like that actually shows like right now where you're actually like paying shit like
it's kind
how
of,
does that feel?
To be honest, it's kind of shitty because like at the end of the day, people want to see a DJ as someone who has to abide by like every single rule under the book. When at the end of the day, like you said, we're all humans. Like people got bills, right. People have things that they have to do, and also the thing with like, and I'm sure y'all know this too, with brands, you have to keep them upkept, or else people will forget about them. Unless you're like Nightmare, and people like that.
Somebody that's already
established. But like if you're in that process, like you have to be coming up and like doing everything in your power to be in front of people within reason, granted, but like. For me, like, it's kind of difficult because it's like, at the beginning, I was super against, like, all of the in-person shows, right? But now, like, we're so far past the thing of, like, okay, I wouldn't say we're past COVID. That's not what I'm saying at all. But we're so far past the shock factor of COVID. Right. Like, I'm sure you've seen that meme where it's like fear
the
of
number
COVID,
of
and it's switched. Yeah. So, like, I get that, right? But also, we're kind of at the point where if you have I say this every time, but I'm not like, I never say it like on social media and stuff, but anytime I talk to someone, think about this, like, you have such an issue with some of these shows going on. Cool. Why don't you have an issue with bars being at 90% capacity
I feel like
or
that's
whatever?
everyone's argument.
Or why don't
like
you, like, movie
argument.
theaters are open, grocery stores, like, okay, I was in a grocery store, but you know
Right,
what
well,
I mean?
that's an excuse.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
but you know what I mean? Like,
you need that.
if you're gonna be mad about one thing, be mad about all of them.
Exactly.
That coincide with people being close to each other.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I don't want to sound like I'm just like numb to COVID, because like, you know, I understand that like it's dangerous for some people. But I would also hope that like if you're going to one of those shows or whatever, I would hope that you're using your common sense to know like
you're willingly going out there. You know,
Yeah.
other people around you aren't going to.
there's
do
that
their
risk.
part.
There's always going to be that. There's going to be that risk until we have a vaccine. Like,
Oh, 100%.
with shows or without shows, like you can go to the grocery store and get COVID. Like, it's not, shows aren't the only facilitating factor.
Talk to your mailman and get COVID.
Yeah, right. But with that being said, like, I've been talking to my manager about it. Like, I do have bills to pay, but like I played 2 shows. They were both like, they'd done everything in their power, and I vocalized it on Twitter. I remember because it was with GRIMEFEST, and people were bashing them, and I was just like, I was tired of seeing hate on, not necessarily just them alone, but just hate in general on my timeline, because it was the election, it was everything. Everybody was mad at each other for like whatever the reason was, and I was tired of it. And so I responded or sent out a tweet and of the video of GRIMEFEST where they have all these I don't know what they're called, but like little ropes sectioning
I don't even know
off.
what they're called either.
Yeah,
I just said the
right?
things that are like used to like
Yeah,
make
like
lines.
little elastic movie theater things.
Yeah.
But,
There you go.
but like you could see in the video that everybody's wearing masks. They were all in their little squares. Like, it's the same thing as a drive-in. I mean, not really, but like, think about it in this sense. Like, you're going with friends that you know, so you're already gonna be around people. Right. So like, if you go with your group, you're comfortable with that group, and you're still distanced from other people, and that's what those shows were. Right. And I told my manager, I was like, dude, if I get there and it's not like that, I'm not gonna play. Yeah. And I made that call. Like, and
you're better than me.
I'll live with that. You know, I'll live with that. Like, if somebody wants to get mad at me for playing a show just so I can, you know, pay my power bill, then sure, go for it. Like,
they're only gonna be mad at you for like what, a day.
I'm just
forget about it.
I can guarantee you I won't respond and you'll forget about it. Like,
I
told y'all this before. Like, I'm not gonna respond to like, unless it's directly something that like either I did or whatever, and like it
they
demands,
can be held accountable for.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. If I have to own up to any actions or whatever, then 100%. But if you're just coming at me with some random like side piece bullshit, then I'm not gonna respond.
Yeah, right.
Because that's just not how I do things. It's like, I'm very much about like, I'm gonna respect you, you respect me kind of thing, and I'm gonna push you up and lift you up as much as I can.
We've talked about like some really good subjects and like things that are really going on right now. I want to get to know more about you, dude. Who are like some of your major like influences? Because I feel like everybody kind of like, you know, has like those set like, you know, 2-3 people that like influence them, and you can like, after kind of just like analyzing them, you can like see it. Who would those be for you?
So for me, the number one influence in terms of like live shows,
I was gonna ask, and then like, I guess like in music, you're like,
so I'll break it down like that, where we have my influence for production, my influence for live shows and everything. Number one influence for live shows is Virtual Riot, because he just brings an energy that like, look, I love Excision. He's probably one of my top 3 artists, but like, and his energy is great and all, but like, if you've ever been to a Virtual Riot show, the energy is different. It's just
like, I want to see some dude just chopping and headbanging at the same time.
Dude, he goes hard. He's just, because he loves what he does, and it shows. It shows. You know 100%. What I mean? So like, that's definitely my show influence, where I'm just like, I mean, if you ever come to one of my live sets, like, I'm jumping around, like, I'm headbanging to the point where I'm tripping over myself. Like, it's like that. But for production, I would say a big old influence of mine, even though my music doesn't, I don't take influence on my music in terms of like, I'm just going to copy this sound, but more in the sense of how they're doing things, is Effin, for example. Because Effin will just like, what I was telling y'all about, where he has this rack where it's just like 38 EQ3s and like 8 OTTs to make a glitch sound out of a snare. Like, just doing stuff that like doesn't, like, shouldn't work, but just find a way to make it work, you know? So like, I would say those are the top 2. And then someone that I just have loved ever since the beginning is Flux Pavilion. For like, doesn't need an explanation, just Flux Pavilion.
I like him.
Yeah. If y'all don't know him, yo, bro, get educated.
There's no way people don't know
Flux
Pavilion.
If you're watching this and you don't know who Flux is,
Oh,
You're
how did
too young.
I
You're
can't,
too young.
I can't
Off
not
the
mention
channel.
Skrillex too.
Oh, yeah.
Getting
Everybody
the
is.
guy who got me into EDM, fuck swinging and Skrillex.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. So, how and when did you hear about Riddim Squad?
Oh god.
Who's Riddim Squad, bro?
Yeah, I don't know that name. It doesn't really ring a bell.
It's like who's Riddim Squad?
Let's get here.
You know what? I'd heard about y'all like before, like probably about a month or two before y'all hit me up for the stream that we did together, and so I knew about you through GRIMEFEST because I just kind of been like through all the people that I'd started following. I saw retweets and stuff, and then first off, I really liked the logo, so it was kind of like a bash at Supreme, and I was like, this is hilarious. I was like, I love this, and then I followed y'all, and I just kind of kept up with it, and then through there, and then we were going back and forth through 48 and Riddim Squad on Twitter, and then always being in the same chats on live streams together at the same time, stuff like that. And then after the live stream, it was like I kind of just like really dug in, and I was like, all right, what are y'all about? What are y'all doing? And just did my homework really. So yeah, I would say probably about like 3 months ago. 3-4 months ago.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. So where are those like random kids? Like, they're fucking no ones. No, I'm just kidding. Fuck those kids. It's like you're talking about shit about yourself. Or just chill. I had a Red Bull.
Dude, when I first saw the logo, when I was like, that's like a joke on Supreme, I was literally sitting there just chuckling for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is hilarious.
When I saw this, I was like, yeah, it's Supreme for sure.
Even the B says Supreme,
I
bro.
was like,
you gotta drop one hoodie one time, just one hoodie for like $250, just as a joke. Like no one's gonna buy it, just for like a high price.
An embroidered Riddim Squad box logo.
A Riddim Squad
and name it
Oreo.
box logo. Name it box logo.
One of one.
Oh my god. Alright, so if there's anybody that you could collab with, who?
Do I have to narrow it down to one?
Give us 2. No, 3.
Yeah.
Do you want like
I was gonna say if it's one for dubstep, if it's one for like mid tempo or like whatever.
mid-tempo 1788L?
Yes,
Easy.
the fucking
Easy.
go, bro.
I feel like, to be honest, like I feel like anybody would say this, but I just feel like if we were to sit down and do a collab together, it would bang. I feel like it would be a good.
He's a mid tempo king, bro.
Right?
I don't care what anybody says. He's a mid tempo king.
Yeah, he's a king in general.
Yes.
Like the way. Have you seen one of his live shows?
Yes.
I think I was supposed to.
I've been to
whenever
one. He was so it was supposed to be
Shaq.
Shaq,
Yeah.
and then 1788L,
Damn.
and then Shaq didn't come because his sister died, and
rest
so
My condolences.
yeah, rest in peace. So he headlined, and that was amazing. That was the first time we even heard about him, and we were like, yeah, like this.
Well, that's the
he's
thing.
dope as fuck.
Is he does stuff that like it just takes the live set to a whole nother level. Like for example, he never used to talk on the mic ever.
Yeah.
And then when he finally decided to talk, he was playing Lights All Night, and the way he worked it in to like finally talk, because it was like known that people was like he doesn't talk. Kind of like how people know that Murata doesn't talk on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
People knew about it, and the way he introduced like the first time he was going to talk on a mic ever was like in between a transition of his intro and the next song, he had like that like weird robotic voice that he has in like all of his songs. Say like we've uploaded a voice analyzing system. You may test it now. Right after he's like, "Lights All Night. What the fuck is up?"
Wow.
And it was
That's
like,
crazy.
whoa. It was just a really surreal moment kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I would love to collab with 1788L eventually. And then I guess another one, definitely Virtual Riot for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then Soundwreck. I've been bugging Soundwreck.
Okay.
Soundwreck and Foreign have been. I mean, us three have been going back and forth, like not in a group text or whatever, but like we've been going back and forth saying we're gonna collab forever, and like we just never get around to it.
That's me and Alex.
Soundwreck and Foreign, if you see this, we got to get to it.
Have to.
That's gonna be the promo clip. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. We got you. That's basically me and Alex. We're always saying, "Yo, we're gonna go back to back. We're gonna go back to back." Never happens.
Right?
I just suck at replying.
It's just like
that's it.
everybody's so busy. It's just like it's hard to get that time.
Oh yeah.
And then especially like, of course, you're probably working on like 3 songs at once, and you just
Yeah.
send a whip to them, and they like love it, or you like theirs or whatever, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna work on this, and then
3 months later, it's like
Nothing.
okay.
that's how like G Wiz, him and I started working on a collab like a month ago, and then he sent me something, and then I worked on it, did my part, sent it back to him, and like we haven't done anything in like 2 months, and he texted me the other day, he's like, damn bro, like I gotta finish, like I gotta work on this thing, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're good, dude. Like to be completely honest, I would have done the same thing. Like, we're good, but yeah.
Do you know anybody that we should be on the lookout in the DFW area or anywhere else?
Somebody who isn't getting love that should be getting love that they need.
Strats, mentioned him earlier. Strats really is just putting on. He's doing as much as he can, and he's just like I said, like a really kind soul, someone who deserves some attention.
Oh yeah.
And then I guess somebody else. I'm trying to think of because I could just name someone that like I've been back and forth with on Twitter, right? But I'm trying to think of someone who like actually deserves it. New sauce. KNUE.
Nuisance.
Nuisance.
Baby J.
Wow, bro.
Oh my god.
I've been reading it like that for so long.
I was like, Nuisance, and then he said it with a K.
Nuisance, yeah.
Fucking Baby J, I love him.
Yeah,
bro.
Nuisance
He's the
goes
fucking
hard.
Shit. He's the shit. Bro.
And y'all, 48 too. Like I know y'all just started the project. Like y'all just like when I've seen your live sets and stuff and doing the Generate stream and stuff like that. Like they're always killer sets.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's fun too. I'm just here, just getting Twitter clout. That's it. I don't do shit.
Oh, and Boston Beijing. Shout out Boston Beijing.
The fucking go.
Yeah.
Fucking rugby, bro. He's the go.
The little Texas hat when Rugby played the stream was hilarious. I don't know if y'all saw that clip. Like he was playing a dubstep set and he busted out a Little Texas song and we were sitting like in the other room while the live stream was happening. And he has this pink cowboy hat, and he walks in with it, and we're like, what is that? He's like, I'm playing Little Texas tonight. And as soon as Little Texas comes on, he rips off the hoodie, and he's in like a tank top, and he's got the hat on, and he's just like going to town. And I was like, yeah, I love this kid.
Rugby's the fucking best, bro.
Man's been trapped in the United States for like 6
months. I feel bad for him, bro. I know
crazy.
he just wants to get out of this
Yeah,
shit,
right?
bro.
Well, I think he's back now. But
Is he?
yeah, because
he is.
He was tweeting about his like trip from hell,
Yeah.
He was like, please, God, don't shut down travel.
Because I think he posted a video of him in like I don't know where he's staying. It's somewhere overseas, but it's like in the Asian
Probably some quarantine area before he can go to Beijing, I have to assume.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of like what specific like country he's in right now. But I remember he posted a video of him like in his hotel, like where they had to like self quarantine for 2 weeks before they can actually leave.
Mm-hmm.
Of like his like one of his friends just like outside the window, just like waving at him. I'm just like, oh, it's good to see that he's finally over there.
He was. You could tell he was.
He was so fed up with America, bro. I don't blame him.
Man had some Twitter fingers going.
Any special shout outs? Anybody you want to mention before we go?
Big shout out to my manager Ryan from Aura Presents. I mean, that man does everything he can for me. I mean, he's learning the business just like I am, and he literally does everything. I mean, when you look at something that's like malware branded, it doesn't just come from me. It's between him and I. Mm-hmm. And so, biggest shout out to him. Love that man to death. And another one would be Cam from Alienation. I don't know if you know them, but they're a duo. And there's some stuff they're doing behind the scenes together. Like, I don't know if you saw the tweet a couple weeks ago where I said announcement soon, like the cliche way.
Oh, with
the capital, uncapital. Yeah,
I saw that.
I don't know if I'm allowed to speak about it yet, but he's doing some stuff, and he just brought me on to it with some people from names that you like. I guarantee you know, and it's like really exciting of that. And he's been a silent backer ever since we started the project. Always like giving me production tips or like saying what I should do for branding and things like give me tips. Oh, yeah. So like biggest shout out to Cam, Alienation, Ryan, R Presents, and yeah.
Sweet. All right. So it's been your boy Danny Pats, Andy Huncho, half of 24, AK 48, and the motherfucking GOAT Malware.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. See you on the next one.